Alertwolf here to bring you another review. This review is of a TV show, and this is the History Channel presents the Bible, and I'm doing this on episode 1 in the beginning. Now, I had done this video last week, and by the way, the reason I'm going to break this up into 2 parts, and I'm going to give you the reason. And I had done this video last week, and it took me a while to decide to do this, and if I thought it was a good idea, and it is. And the Bible's an important piece. This is very well done, so I think it's very good, and it should be told, and I should review it. Anyway, so what goes on here is due to YouTube, I recently received a copyright strike due to Sony Music. It's a fraud. It's completely fake. It's a BS claim against me. Because my videos just partake of me sitting in my room talking to you. So there is no copyrighted material on any of my videos. And even this is a screenshot. But this is fair use, technically, because I'm not airing an entire episode. This has been on, you know, this is still fair use. Because I'm allowed to show clips, and this is not even a clip. So, and I didn't even do this for the video in question. And this had to do with the thumbnail. But because of this, I'm restricted in time, and my original video covered both, because this was shown in a 2-hour block, both episodes, and was over like 30 minutes, and thus it couldn't be uploaded because I'm only allowed to do 15 minutes at a time. Because of this, this is not going to be as detailed as I want it to be. So I've decided to break it up into 2 episodes, into the breakdown of 2 episodes separately, so you got 2 videos. Now, this encompasses the story of Genesis, Adam and Eve, Noah, Abraham, Lot, and part in the beginning of the story of Moses. But I'm not even, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it after Abraham and not talk about Moses until the next episode, because the next episode is the rest of Moses and a little smidgen at the end of Joshua. So I'm pretty much gonna devote this to this half. Now, it opens up very interestingly enough. We're inside the ark. It's tossing and turning, and Noah's telling the story, the creation story. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was out form and void, and you know, that whole thing right there. Now, I will say this: the effects are pretty good. The animals there. I would have liked to see some dinosaurs there, because they would have been on the ark too. And that would have been cool, but I guess, you know, budget being what it is, pick and choose your CG. Most of that boat is CG on the outside, so you don't have to put in CG dinosaurs. I understand why they left it out. Although the budget on this was pretty high, $22 million. They also got Keith David to narrate it. Love Keith David. Everything he does, I love that dude. From like They Live to like Gargoyles to like Spawn. I mean, the guy has done it all, and lending his voice to this is truly epic. It makes this piece a little more, excuse the language, badass. But okay. So, and I will say this: I'm gonna provide you some interesting unknown facts that I've accumulated over the years. For example, the story in Genesis of the creation all the way through the flood is the oldest. People call it a myth. It's not a myth, in my opinion, based on my faith, but it is the oldest story in record in humanity on the origins of the world. This can be found throughout history. We're talking long before the Jewish Bible or the Christian Bible. The story of Adam and Eve can be found, and Noah's flood can be found in the earliest form of Chinese letters and characters, to cuneiforms, which are these tiny little tablets that they have dating back to Babylon. Some of the oldest recorded writing in history. I mean, we're talking a tablet this big, written in a font that small, and they wrote the whole creation story. And by the way, word for word, in the beginning, God created, like the same opening when you translate it to English. It's the same thing. It hasn't changed. It is the first creation story. The first creation story. Everything else that came after it is different. But anyway, I just figured I'd mention that. And as for the Ark, some archaeological stuff here. The Ark, I believe, was found in Turkey, where it's frozen on a glaciered mountain. And because of it's only visible certain times every few decades. I think a year or two ago they went up, and now they found it's been cracked in half. But they've brought back pieces of it. Now, some people say it's a hoax. Some people don't believe it. But it's a freaking ark on top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. Nowhere near an ocean. You do the math. But, that aside, back to it. So, they tell the story of Adam and Eve, all the way to the killing of Cain and Abel. And that's why God, and the wickedness grew, and that's why God decided to wipe the slates clean and start over. And thus is the story of the beginning, the first 7 days, and then he goes, 7th day he rested, and is the story of them stopping and finding land. Then we fast forward and skip a big chunk of history, like the Tower of Babel, the story of Nimrod, all of that. A lot of people think Nimrod was Gilgamesh, so very similar dudes if they're not the same person. The Tower of Babel, the scattering of the languages, all that gets skipped, and we start with Abraham. Now, Abraham, basically, he's a leader of his tribe. God comes in a dream, in a vision, tells him he's going to have children, which he hasn't had because his wife is barren. He's going to have children. He's going to have children, and not just children, his descendants. He's going to be the father of many nations, and his descendants will be blessed and as numerous as the stars, and they like saying as numerous as the stars in heaven. And basically, he's going to be the seed to many royal lines, which is very true. Almost every royal line currently in the planet has at one time or another been married into the old Jewish royalty. So there's their blood mixed in there. It's true. It's it's history. But because different kingdoms marry different kingdoms. That's how it goes. So so he tells his family. And God has promised him a land for him to go to and settle to. Thus the promised land. And by the way, this deals with the current conflict today in Israel. The Israeli land that Israel is only a fraction of the promised land promised to them by God. If you count the Bible as a history book, hence why it's on the History Channel, even if you don't believe in God, the fact that Abraham is the father of both these Israeli people and the Arab people. So to say that the Arab people are indigenous but the Israeli people aren't is retarded, because they're brothers. They literally descend from Abraham, and nobody disputes this. Okay, so Lot is convinced to come with them. Now Lot, I like the way they portrayed this. They portrayed this like Lot was something I didn't even realize. Lot would have been, since it's his nephew, would have been like a son to him. And I didn't even think of that because he didn't have children. But you see Lot's wife bitching the whole time, again, excuse the language, and that's because of who she is. So then, you keep going. They end up going to the promised land, but then there's not enough food there. Lot and a couple others leave. They try to go to settle near Sodom. They end up getting captured by the king of Sodom. So then Abraham goes in with a bunch of warriors, breaks them out. We don't get to see the battle, gets them out, but then Lot still decides to move into Sodom because he feels like that's where the food lies. So he leaves, and Abraham is depressed and saddened by this. Now, time passes, and then we have Sarah still hasn't had children. This Abraham's wife. So Sarah suggests that he sleep with the servant, Hagar and to bore him a child. And he does. He sleeps with her. She bores him Ishmael, and Ishmael is one of the founding bloodline members of the Arab people. Ishmael is the founder of that line. Basically, this is where people who are currently Muslim claim to be descended from, and this is very true. Okay, this goes on for a little while. He's happy. He loves his son. And then he gets visited by Christ. Well, the pre-incarnate version of Christ, which is God's body form, you know, and two angels. Now, the way they showed it's almost Star Wars like. They're wearing the hoods. It's pretty cool. You know, and even when they showed with the Adam and Eve story, when they showed the devil looked like Darth Sidious. He was wearing a dark hood, and I mean, oftentimes people associate a dark hooded figure with Satan, so that's why they did that artistically. Okay, so then now Christians assert that Jesus is that the form that visited the form of God that visited Abraham was Jesus, because it's, you know, he's the Word and Jesus is the Word, that type of thing, description in the Old and New Testament. And the actor, they don't show you his face, but you can tell that that's the actor that's playing Jesus. Now the angels are cool. That Jesus talks to Sarah, says you're gonna have a kid, and she giggles, and he goes, name your son after laughter, and they call him Isaac. So then, but the other reason they're there is to let them know that they're gonna go destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Now they don't mention Gomorrah for some reason, but they are, and so the angels go in to test the people, and Abraham and God are up watching this on a hill, and they're talking, and basically Abraham's pleading for the people, because he goes, there has to be good people in there. You can't just, you're just God. You can't destroy the good with the bad. And he's like, if there's 50, God's like, yeah, if there's 50, I'll spare it. If there's 20, if there's 10, yeah, if there's 10 people, I'd spare it, but there's not. The only good people in the whole city is Lot and his daughters and his wife, sort of. So he defends the two angels. Now, there's a little discrepancy between this and the Bible, and it's just little differences. One, it was such a sexually promiscuous town that once they found out there were angels, they wanted to have sex with them. This had to do with the lore that the children would be crazy and powerful and stuff like that, but I don't want to get too far into it. But basically, that's what they want to do. Lot tries to sway the crowd. He even offers them his virgin daughters, which is left out of this version. They say no. Eventually, what does happen is they flee the city. It's cool in this. You start to see the angels kick ass, and they take out swords, and they fight. Interesting interpretations. I like it. I thought it was very cool. Cool fighting. The whole place is exploding around because God is bringing his judgment, destroying it. Now, they get warned not to turn around and look back. Now, look back could be just a quick look back, a lag back, to go back. That's up for it. That doesn't matter. So basically, Lot's wife ends up looking back because she doesn't want to leave Sodom and Gomorrah. When she looks back, the Bible says she's turned into a pillar of salt, and it's said there. Now, what happens is it's very close to the Dead Sea. And let me explain something. Now, historians have, archaeologists have found these pillars of salt with human remains in them that have been humans. The body has been actually turned to salt because it's been there for a few thousand years. You know, eventually you become the mineral you're buried in. So they have, a lot of people have called that. Now, there's no way to say for sure this is Lot's wife, but this fits the Bible account 100%. So this has been found. So this is another true story. Again, why it's history. I give it a 5 out of 5. I thought it was amazing. It was about 90% accurate. I thought it was really good. So this is Alert Wolf here telling you to click it up if you like it, comment if you must, and please, please, please subscribe if you can. And this is your buddy Alert Wolf signing out. God bless.